Good afternoon and welcome to From Where We Are, stories of news and culture through the lens of USC and Southern California. I'm Drew Richmond, coming to you live from Studio B in USC's Annenberg Media Center.
And I'm Katie Havens. It's Tuesday, March 4th. On today's show, an exclusive interview with President Carol Folt, and Fire Chief Crowley loses her bid to get reinstated. All that and more from Where We Are.
It was like rocking, and I just said, oh God, let everybody be okay. And at that time, boom, that camper came over on top of my camper.
Dallas, Texas is facing severe storms with winds as strong as 50 miles per hour. These storms are so bad that schools and classes have either closed or been canceled or delayed. Red flag warnings are in effect for certain parts of Texas, and fire weather watches are in effect for parts of New Mexico and Oklahoma. The National Weather Service also notes that there will be concerns for very strong, damaging winds, tornadoes, and at least some areas of large hail across the Gulf Stream.
Imagine if we lived in today's world alongside woolly mammoths. That's what scientists at the U.S. biotech company Colossal Biosciences are hoping to achieve, and their biggest breakthrough so far, woolly mice. In a news release and scientific paper, scientists from the company detail how they implanted a genetically modified embryo in lab mice to produce more hair. The mice gave birth to these adorable woolly creatures in October. Beth Shapiro, Chief Science Officer at Colossal Biosciences, says it's a big deal. The company hopes bringing back extinct animals will help repair the ecosystem.
Today is Mardi Gras, also known as Fat Tuesday. The famed celebration in New Orleans is known for its parades, beads, and music. Mardi Gras comes the day before the Christian holiday of Ash Wednesday, which marks the start of Lent, but it dates back to pagan festivals in ancient times that celebrated the arrival of spring. Contrary to popular belief, Mardi Gras is not just one day, but an entire season called Carnival, which begins January 6th, 12 days after Christmas, and lasts until today. Despite New Orleans being the American epicenter of Mardi Gras, the holiday is also celebrated in places like Brazil, France, and Trinidad, to name a few.
Before Zoom and alongside FaceTime, we had Skype. Now the service is shutting down. Starting May 5th, the app will no longer be available to use after its 2-decade run. Skype users can use their login credentials on Microsoft Teams' free tier. Microsoft bought Skype for $8.5 billion back in 2011. Customers have been told all contact information and message history should transfer seamlessly. Jeff Tepper, the president of Microsoft 365 Collaborative Apps and Platforms, is, quote, excited about the new opportunities that Teams brings and is committed to helping people stay connected in new and meaningful ways.
If you're familiar with the San Bernardino Mountains, chances are you might have heard of Jackie and Shadow, and if not, well, they're the Eagle celebrities. This bald eagle couple live in a nest in a tree in Big Bear and recently became parents. One egg hatched at 11:30 p.m. Monday and another around 4:30 a.m. today. Fans who watch the Eagles on a webcam have been eagerly anticipating the happy event since last year, when Jackie unfortunately had no eggs hatch. There is a third egg currently waiting to hatch. Anyone can view the live cam featuring these eagles at YouTube.
After getting dismissed by Mayor Karen Bass on February 21st, former LA Fire Chief Kristin Crowley and several members of LA's fire department fought back at City Hall today. Samantha Lee has the story.
I urge you to vote to reinstate me as fire chief.
It's all about our people, and that's why I'm here today.
That was former Fire Chief Kristin Crowley moments before entering court. She was appealing to reverse Bass's decision to oust her.
My hopes today are to make sure that everybody knows within the city what our firefighters need to do their jobs, to be supported, to be safe, so that they can go home to their families in the morning.
The city's firefighters were among her most vocal supporters, including Chung Ho, director at United Firefighters of Los Angeles City. He says the firefighting community of LA are disappointed by Mayor Bass's actions and that the termination was unwarranted.
And so for the first time, we've had a fire chief who speaks up and speaks out and says, hey, this fire department is understaffed, it's under-resourced, and we can go no more. We are going to break at some point. And when we get a fire chief that finally speaks up, she's terminated.
Ho, on behalf of the union, says that Crowley was used as a scapegoat by the mayor. Bass has herself faced criticism for her response to the deadly and destructive wildfires. The mayor's office has given 3 reasons for terminating the fire chief. First, choosing not to deploy an additional 1,000 firefighters on the day the blaze ignited. Second, failing to warn the mayor of dangerous wind conditions. And third, allegedly rebuffing a request to prepare a report investigating what happened during the fires and why. Ho says these allegations are bogus.
They're not true. The first reason, there was no place to put 1,000 firefighters the morning of the firefighters. We don't have enough trucks, we don't have enough engines to put 1,000 firefighters. Second, I think everybody in the country knew about the dangerous wind conditions. And then third, well, there is an after-action report, a comprehensive after-action report that's being conducted right now. It's going to take time to complete because of the volume, the large-scale incident that we had. We can't just complete it overnight.
Mayor Bass won today. Crowley will remain ousted after the city council voted in favor of her dismissal. Crowley needed 2/3 of the council, 10 votes, to reverse the decision. She got 2. For Annenberg Media, I'm Samantha Lee.
I'm going to continue to work hard for the city as an assistant chief. I think there's more for us to do. I think there's a lot more contributions no matter what seat I'm in.
This evening, USC Rossier School of Education will host a panel. They've been running a series centered on overall well-being for teachers and students and everybody in education spaces today. Today's panel is called Uplifting Educators, Teachers and Faculty Perspectives. We spoke to one of the key organizers of the series. Krisha Sika has more.
Professor Zoë Corwin says one of the key problems in education today is that faculty are too isolated from each other. Corwin helped organize this panel, which will deal with this subject and others. She is research faculty at USC Rossier and has been studying education from kindergarten to higher ed for over 20 years. Today's panel focuses on K through 12.
So how do faculty members and teachers in K-12 settings, how might they maybe more creatively or more holistically, more effectively take care of both their students and themselves? Because teachers and faculty experience a lot of burnout, and it's really hard caring for others, especially if they're dealing with intense issues.
The ongoing speaker series is called Grand Challenges and Opportunities. It aims to reimagine mental health and wellness in education. Corwin wants the themes of mental health and well-being to resonate with attendees.
Well, so our whole goal has been to really stimulate dialogue about what does it mean to be well and what does that look like in learning environments and how might we think differently and care for each other differently, really with the strong emphasis on humanistic approaches to well-being.
An important part of this well-being, says Corwin, is for faculty to have a support system and lean on each other. She strongly encourages community among her colleagues.
I've been here for a long time, and I have definitely sought out ways to connect with different faculty members and staff members and students in different campus spaces around common interests or, to figure out how we might address different issues. And that, for me, has been like a really a beautiful part of my time here at the university.
Going at it alone is usually not good for well-being. Tonight's panel at USC Rossier hopes to reinforce this and other solutions for educators. And she hopes that USC will do even more to emphasize colleague connection. For Annenberg Media, I'm Krisha Sika. USC President Carol Folt delivered her final State of the University address today, reflecting on her tenure and the future of the university as she prepares to step down from her role. David Silverstein has the recap.
This morning in Bovard Auditorium, President Folt outlined some of the highlights of her 6-year tenure. She talked about the new USC Capitol campus in Washington, D.C., and increases in research, enrollment, funding, and startups, and about this year's big sports news, USC Athletics joining the Big Ten Conference. Finances were another topic that Folt discussed. Last year, USC announced that it spent $158 million more than it had earned. Folt did not address this specifically, but went on to say that all universities are dealing with financial pressures.
That's every university in America. I think they said 80% of the universities have had operating cost deficits over the last 3 years, at least 2 of the last 3 years. And a lot of that is because costs have exceeded tuition. It's also because, so we've had inflation.
Folt said that USC is unique in the fact that it is a large private institution with elite research, athletics, and a leading health system. Unlike many other universities like Ivies and public Ivies, the majority of USC's financial funding comes from tuition.
Our large support comes from tuition. So things that really affect tuition are going to have a bigger effect on us than they might on other universities.
To finish off her speech, Folt talked about the over 70 new executive orders that have been signed by President Trump since he was inaugurated in January. She addressed the concerns that people are having regarding the future of DEI and research programs, but was unable to provide them with a clear answer.
You know, what I really wish I could tell you is not to worry, but I can't tell you how to face it because none of us really understand this.
While people may remain uncertain about the future, Folt assured the audience that USC is resilient and capable of handling whatever the future holds.
We fight for our mission because of you. You are the ones that really keep us together. We have a history of boldness, and that's just shown that we can change.
This was Folt's 6th and final university address as she retires from her position as president.
So I've been doing this for more than 24 years, leading universities. And you might think that after that time, this gets old, but it doesn't. And I'm going to step down from this position feeling just as enlivened by it as I have from the start.
Folt plans to stick around. She will return to the faculty after this semester, working in the new Ginsberg Hall that opened up this past September. For Annenberg Media, I'm David Silverstein.
I'm Drew Richmond. We're glad you're with us for From Where We Are.
And I'm Katie Havens. It's 1:30. Coming up, we hear from an Annenberg Media producer on today's in-studio interview with President Carol Folt.
Last Saturday, President Trump signed an executive order in which he designated English as the official language of the United States. Cecilia Mendez-Comas has the story.
Residents of the United States speak over 350 languages across the nation. And while English is already the official language in over 30 states, Trump's executive order comes at a time when the number of people in the United States who speak languages other than English is constantly growing. According to 2022 data from the U.S. Census, roughly 1 in 10 people now speak a language other than English, over triple the amount in 1980. While the order assures to promote unity, cultivate a shared American culture for all citizens, ensure consistency in government operations, and create a pathway to civic engagement, many are concerned this order will further alienate immigrant communities during these already difficult times, making it harder for non-English speakers to fill out healthcare forms, get government services, or vote. Danny Zan just graduated from USC in May of 2024, with a major in business and a minor in Spanish. Being half Indian and half Persian and having grown up in Southern California, Danny speaks Farsi, Hindi, English, and Spanish. His thoughts on the executive order are a nod to the diverse community of Los Angeles.
Multilingual people are not going anywhere. Like you said, there's over 300 and probably even more languages spoken in this country. So it's a shame that there has to be a written law in that now, but I don't think that's going to stop anyone who truly loves speaking new languages, exploring different cultures, and embracing that here in this country.
Trump's executive order is the first of its kind. It rescinds a mandate signed in the year 2000 by then-President Bill Clinton, which required government agencies and anyone who received federal money to provide translated documents and other language services to people who speak limited English. Congressman Hakeem Jeffries said,
dozens of the other executive orders and actions that have been taken, we're going to have to examine whether what he's doing is actually in compliance with the law and the United States Constitution. And to the extent that it's not, I'm confident that he will be sued.
Speaking to people in languages they understand is critical. Pianist Pauline Yang, a U.S. arts envoy for the U.S. Department of State, who is proficient in Mandarin Chinese, Italian, German, and Russian, explains this.
I have come to realize in my career, especially through my travels, that in fact not knowing another language or multiple languages would actually be a disadvantage to individuals. And so it's so critically important that we try to learn as many as possible and to try to really learn each one as well as possible, because it really makes you be able to connect with that culture more directly.
French professor Mina Sarouche speaks to the importance of multilingual abilities.
So if someone does know a language or multiple languages, they're able to connect to not only other people, but other worlds, other mindsets, other perspectives, other ways of being in the world, other histories and knowledge and culture. It's not just knowing the language so that you can, text someone a message or email off. It's just an awareness and a knowledge that there's not just one language and one type of thinking and speaking in the world.
What Trump's executive order means for the country is still up for debate. What is not up for debate is the fact that non-English speakers have and will continue to be crucial members of this country. For Annenberg Media, I'm Cecilia Mendez-Gomas.
Ethan Huang helped produce today's exclusive interview with President Carol Folt between Annenberg Media and Daily Trojan representatives. Reporters in the control room were able to observe the conversation. Huang sat down with our executive producer, Isaac Vargas, to discuss what happened.
Some of us were slightly nervous because, of course, we are interviewing the president of the university. But I think when she came in, it luckily was, I think all of us were rather professional despite a lot of hard-hitting questions. I think everyone remained pretty cordial, and it turned out really well.
And I know that she came to studio shortly after delivering her university address. And so she had a lot to say, and I'm really just hoping to unpack some of that with you right now. I understand that there was a discussion today regarding the university's recent decision to merge the Office of Inclusion and Diversity with their culture team. What did Folt say regarding the university's commitment to DEI and immigration enforcement on campus?
Yeah, well, the first thing that she pretty much said is that their commitment to supporting people of all different backgrounds, she basically was saying that has not changed at all. The thing that she basically was trying to emphasize was that it was pretty much these three individuals who were sort of moved out of their position into a new role. And she was basically claiming that this would have happened even without the government's initiatives and the government push to move away from these DEI initiatives.
Universities are always working. You just don't necessarily see the things that are going on until one day when it becomes a visible piece. But that was something that people have been working on for a long time.
I understand that you also touched on what happened during last spring's encampments here at USC. What did Folt have to say about the university's response?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that she was really emphasizing there is that she feels that it was still the right choice, one, to cancel commencement.
So while sure didn't like to do it, I still do think, especially when we made the decision, it was the right one. And the experience for the students was really special.
And to that, her whole goal was safety. She was citing a lot of things that had happened previously during her time as president that led to some physical violence on campus. And she, in her eyes, that this was the right move after consulting things like the federal government, Gavin Newsom, trying to talk with students.
I wasn't getting pressure. No one was calling me up and saying, you do this or we're going to take your money away. That was absolutely not happening here, and I'm very proud of that.
she was basically looking at the current climate, everything from, what was happening across town at UCLA, as well with that situation becoming increasingly more violent. A lot of those things went into this decision, according to her, and she still stands by it.
I think under the same encampment umbrella, previously Annenberg Media received a recording where Folt was quoted saying that there would be 0 academic threats to students participating. But that said, the week after, the office sent out letters of interim suspension to students. Did she say anything about that today?
The thing is that she said that she didn't want to say anything about it, mainly because she pretty much was saying that she never made any of those promises to those students at all.
I didn't say that. And we did exactly what our rules say. That was all very much our previous rules. We hadn't actually changed our time, place, and manner rules. So I think that's important to realize that. We didn't change them. They were all existing. We have very strong processes for what students do at certain kinds of violations. So, I think that's a complicated circumstance, but I believe we were following our rules.
Folt mentioned a reduction in crime since USC's decision to install fences and checkpoints. What can you tell me about the future of security measures at USC?
Yeah, well, this, again, goes back to previously. Her whole goal that she was emphasizing throughout this whole interview was safety. Her claim is that this is all for the sake of campus safety, and she actually sees that, in at least the neighboring community, she's saying that they are seeing a reduction in crime.
I'm here till the end of spring. I'm not predicting out beyond that about which aspects of the gates will be permanent. I really don't know. I think right now it is still been our decision that it actually is serving a purpose. It has felt that it has given us a different level of security.
Lastly, Ethan, you got a chance to hear all about sort of what is yet to come for her work here at USC. What's next for President Folt?
Well, the thing is that she will still be around on campus, and especially if you're a student over at Viterbi, you will probably see her walking around there. And this is actually what she had to say about that.
I'm going to have an office in Viterbi, and I'm going to teach. My first topic will be in sustainability, which of course I love very much. It's been my whole career, but I haven't gone past that. That's my biggest thing to think about next. I'm starting to work on that, developing that. But that'll be really fun for me to go back into the classroom because I've always really enjoyed that.
Any last thoughts, any last takeaways from today's sit-down interview with Folt?
Yeah, I think overall what a lot of us in the control room also felt was, well, one, Folt is very good at media training. She's very good at sort of waxing poetic in a way to kind of answer the questions, but also not really touch, sort of skirting around a lot of the more sensitive portions on there. So, some people might feel that they didn't get all the answers that they really wanted out of this interview. I think it was a good opportunity to, one, give some students answers, but, whether or not those actually were provided, then, it's up to the listener themselves.
Ethan, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
To view the full interview with President Carol Folt, visit Annenberg Media's YouTube channel. And that's all the time we have for on today's From Where We Are. Isaac Vargas and Amy Lopez produced today's show. We had help from Amy Torres, Daniela Lake, and Gianmarco Velasquez.
Our board operator is Jaden Frank. Our live stream manager is Sarah Felkins, and Derek Renfro composed our theme music.
Catch us live on YouTube at Annenberg Radio News Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. Subscribe to From Where We Are wherever you're listening right now. Finally, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Annenberg Radio. I'm Katie Havens.
And I'm Drew Richmond. From all of us at Annenberg Radio, wherever you are, we hope you'll join us again for
From Where We Are.
The Saints, hey, go marching in. Hey, K-Dog! All the Mardi Gras talk got me thinking about the beads and the beignets.
I'm ready to party. I don't know about you.
And a little 21 and over drink. You gonna be able to make it down to Mardi Gras? We got, what, a day or two left?
Unfortunately, I couldn't make it down to New Orleans, but I'm jealous of all my friends that could.
Oh, we're stuck here at school being nerds,
I know.
huh?
It'll work out. It'll pay off in
You
the
know
end.
what I just thought about? We could do a hosty A&R trip to Mardi
Absolutely.
Gras next year.
Let's do it. Let's start planning now.
What you think about that? Good night from where we are.
Happy Mardi Gras, everyone.